Hi, I'm Len Witt. I'm a professor at Kennesaw State University just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been coming up with this idea called representative journalism, which basically says if you have a community of interest, let's say endangered species in Florida, or a geographic community that's not getting the news and information its community members want, we'll supply you a journalist. We'll be a full-service hub, everything you need. You just supply the community and eventually the funding so that we can have a sustainable position for a journalist over a long period of time. Now, our first experiment is being tried in the town of Northfield, Minnesota, home of Carleton College and St. Olaf, so you might know a little bit about it. And thanks to a grant that we received from the Harnish Foundation, let me just go find Ruth Ann here, from the Harnish Foundation, and its president, Ruth Ann Harnish, who's been sort of an inspiration for us, and with some financial help from the foundation, we have gone to Northfield to start this experiment. Let me tell you a little bit about the blog first. So, 3 principals at Northfield: Ross Currier, Tracy Davis, Griff Wigley. Now, Griff is the guy who's really been sort of instrumental in getting us to go up there, because he's been a long time online community builder, going all the way back to the Utney Cafes in the mid-1990s. So he's really been around a while. So if you go to the locally grown site, they blog on this side, the 3 of them, and here's a blog post: should Northfield consider town hall meetings? And then over on this side, people respond to their posts. So let's find that particular one: should Northfield consider town hall meetings? Click on it, and then you'll be able to see over here are the people who have commented on it. Now, this is an active community. And we can see that if we sort of look at look at the presidential election 2008 candidates, campaigns and issues, 416 comments. Here's another one: our nation's fiscal crisis, 277. Now, you can't be deceived. They don't actually have 416 people commenting. In fact, it's usually a much smaller group than that, but still, it's an active community coming around, reacting to the blogs that Tracy and Griff and Ross put up at the site. So they wanted, though, one thing that their site didn't have. They wanted to have a professional journalist. The 3 of them all have jobs, keep them busy. They don't have time to actually go out and do evidence-based journalism. So what we did for them, we went, using Ruth Ann's support and the Harnish Foundation support, we went and hired Bonnie Obremski. She's a reporter out of Massachusetts. She was in Massachusetts before, and then she moved here to Northfield to be our fellow. And what she does, of course, is provide stories for their website. Now, some of them are written stories, and some, like this one here, are stories, video stories. So this one is City Talks About Working Together. And this is about I think about a 4-minute video she did, but I'll give you just a little bit of a slice of it so you can kind of see a little bit about what she's doing here.
Process of discussing an annexation and business plan proposal, Northfield residents made some larger observations about how their community functions. Many of those observations indicated that city government officials, elected officials, and citizens have something to work on, and that is working together. In the coming months.
So there was Bonnie. That's one of her stories. And then our triumvirate writes about it, or blogs about it a little bit, and then all of these people over on this side join the conversation. So we really have 3 elements here. We have Bonnie producing her evidence-based stories, and then we have the triumvirate, commenting on them and putting them into context, and also the rest of the community doing that, and maybe even moving towards action on some of their stories. So she produces the journalism, they produce the commentary and try and have a discussion, conversation on the public square. That's the whole idea behind it. So evidence-based journalism, community. Now what we need to do to make this thing work is we need probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 people in Northfield who are taken enough with this idea and find value in the work that Bonnie's doing, but also in value in the whole being a part of this whole information community. And will they put up $65, let's say, each a year to support locally grown and also to make it possible for journalists to work there on a full-time basis, on the long-term basis also. So that's the idea: journalism, commentary, community, and then funded. Now, when I came up with the idea of representative journalism, I often thought of it as, in its full incarnation, would be like 100 journalists. So the folks in Northfield, somebody in Northfield would be asked to pay, we'll use an arbitrary number, $100 a year, $2 a week, and they would get all these stories from Bonnie, and they would get their own stories that they're really interested in. But their $2 a week would also buy them the 99 other journalists that they would get for free. So here you'd have Bonnie's stories, and then you might have the stories from somebody in Florida who's working on endangered species, and maybe somebody else is doing technology reporting, and someone else is covering public affairs in Washington, D.C. And it would almost be like a newspaper, but in the middle of it you'd have your own little story and you have your own little community, but then you could pick at all these other things. So $2 a week, you get your own journalist plus 99 for free. That's sort of the bargain, So that's kind of our story from representative journalism. That's what we're up to. Drop by, see what we're doing at representative journalism, watch Locally Grown, and if you have ideas for building your own community, let me know, because the more, the merrier. Thanks a lot.